to the channel. My name is Linda. If this is your first time here, I'm so glad you found us, and if you're back to watch some more Supernatural with me, welcome back. So I am on season 1 episode 14. It's called Nightmare. It's one of my favorites of the season. Like I said in the last episode, I think it's brilliant. It's so well done. It sets up so much for the future and tells us so much about, you know, Sam and what happened in the past, and it's a fantastic episode. So I can't wait to watch it again. So let's just get into it. Season 1, episode 14, Nightmare. Hey, Sam.
Good to go.
What's happening?
Good to go. Right now.
Amy, relax. Sure, it's just a nightmare.
It felt different, Dean. Real. Like when I dreamt about our old house and Jessica.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. You're dreaming about our house, your girlfriend, this guy in your dream. You ever seen him before?
No.
No. Exactly. Why would you have premonitions about some random dude in Michigan?
I don't know.
Me neither.
Yes,
What were they saying it happened?
I heard they found him in the garage, locked inside his car with the engine running.
But I think I know who they will talk to.
First appearances of Priest Dean and Priest Sam.
Just tone it down a little bit, Father. So when you found your dad, I woke up. I heard the engine running. I don't know why he did it. Gosh, they disconnected the gym. And some other way. My head.
Sam?
There.
Hey. Hey. What's going on? Talk to me.
I mean, this guy has to take some responsibility for his death. Why the hell would you stick your head under the window, like, so it can be a perfect guillotine? It's normal for a window you just locked to unlock itself and then raise up again. I would definitely stick my neck underneath it, for sure.
Dean, I'm scared, man. These nightmares weren't bad enough. Now I'm seeing things when I'm awake. And these visions or whatever, they're getting more intense, painful. Why the hell is this happening to me?
I don't know, Sam, but we'll figure it out, okay? We face the unexplainable every single day. This is just another thing.
No. It's never been us. It's never been in the family like this.
It scares the crap out of Dean.
Tell the truth. You can't tell me this doesn't freak you out.
This doesn't freak me out.
It's very believable.
You know, one thing I have in common with these people,
What's that?
both our families are cursed.
Our family's not cursed. We just had our dark spots.
Our dark spots are pretty dark.
You're dark. Do you remember anything unusual? Something involving your father and your uncle?
No, there was nothing. We were totally normal.
Also very believable.
Happy.
Good.
In my life, I've never seen a child treated like that. I mean, I'd hear Mr. Miller yelling and throwing things clear across the street. He was a mean drunk. Beat the tar out of Max. Broke his arm 2 times now.
Horrifying.
That thug brother of his is just as likely to take a swing at the boy.
But every time
There's an
he
amazing
stood
shot
there
of it.
and walked, pretending it wasn't happening.
So gross.
My dad still hit me, just in places people wouldn't see it. Old habits die hard, I know.
Like, he's such a, like, small guy, like, this big, ridiculous ass hat. Like, congratulations, you're so tough. You can beat the crap out of somebody like half your size.
When I first, my whole life, I was helpless. But now I have this.
Why didn't you just leave?
It wasn't about getting away. Just knowing that they'd still be out there. It was about not being afraid. When my dad used to look at me, there was hate in his eyes. Do you know what that feels like? He blamed me for everything. For his job, for his life, for my mom's death.
Why would he blame me for your mom's death?
Because she died in my nursery.
That
While I
that
was
line,
asleep in my
the
crib.
first time, so
As if that
many
makes it my
chills.
fault.
She died in your nursery.
There was a fire. And he'd get drunk and babble on like she died in some insane way. He said that she burned up, pinned to the ceiling.
Full body chills first time around. so blown away.
It's the same thing, Max. The same thing killed our mothers. This must be why I've been having visions during the day. Why they're getting more intense. Because you and I must be connected in some way. No, don't you get it? It won't. The nightmares won't end, Max. Not like this. It's just more pain. And it makes you as bad as... You don't have to go through all this by yourself.
He's so sweet. He tried so hard.
I'm sorry.
Go!
Stay back. It's not about you.
You want to kill her, you got to go through me first.
Okay.
No!
So that is the one and only time that Sam ever moves anything with his mind. I know, like, a lot of reactors I've watched have always been like, when is he going to do that again? Like, why doesn't he do that? But I have a theory. I'll tell you at the end.
It's not about you.
No, don't! But this, what you're doing, it's not the solution. It's not gonna fix anything.
You're right.
No!
If I just said something else, got through to him somehow.
Don't do that.
Do what?
Torture yourself. Wouldn't have mattered what you said. Max was too far gone.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. We're lucky we had that.
I never thought I'd hear you say that.
Well, could have gone a whole other way after Mom. A little more tequila, a little less demon hunting, and we would have had Max's child. All things considered, we turned out okay.
You guys turned out awesome.
Thanks to him.
Thanks to John, and also in spite of John, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, you think maybe it was after us? To Max and me?
Why would you think that?
Maybe it was after us for some reason.
Sam, if it wanted you, it would have just taken you. This is not your fault.
I love that he doesn't want him blaming himself for thinking it's
Actually,
his
there's
fault.
No, man, I moved it. Like, Max.
Oh. Business.
I can't turn it on and off, Dean.
Why'd you do it?
I don't know. I can't control it. I saw you die, and it just came out of me like a punch. You know, like a freak adrenaline thing.
I'm sure it won't happen again.
Aren't you worried, man? Aren't you worried that I could turn into Max or something?
Nope. You know why?
No. Why?
Because you got one advantage that Max didn't have. Me.
As
long as I'm around,
true. He tries
Nothing bad's
so
gonna
hard.
happen to you.
That's so Dean being worried about Sam as soon as Sam turns the back. So that was Nightmare. Fantastic episode. Always love it. So I'll give you a little rundown on my theory about the fact that Sam never really never uses the telekinesis thing again. He never moves anything again, or does anything like that. And I think and he does try a couple of times. He tries in the season finale when he's trying to get the gun off the table after he otherwise leaves it there and just taunting him to try to move it. But he never can do it again. He never does do it again. And so my theory about that is, so we see with a bunch of the different psychic kids that with Max, he obviously had motivation to hone his skills because he wanted to be able to use it to seek revenge and to try to end the fear and terror that he was living in. So he had motivation to practice, to like Sam says, your abilities seem to be a little bit further along than mine. And so that was because he wanted to get better at it. And then, with Ava, or actually first we see with Andy and Weber, his twin in season 2, we see that Andy just kind of uses it to get the thing, uses his gift of, persuasion or whatever, to just kind of live the sort of lackadaisical, chill life that he's looking for. And so he doesn't really have a strong motivation to, it's not in him, right? He he just wants what he wants, and he has the things he needs, and that's all he has no real motivation to push it or to see how much further. But Weber, after being visited by the other white demon, is very motivated to, and I mean, obviously he's a little screwed in the head too, and he's very different from Andy, right? He has a very different outlook. He's very, like, he uses his powers for horrible things. And so that sort of evil, and the yellow-eyed demon itself, but that the bad things that already existed in him sort of pushes him because then now he can use it to get all kinds of things, right, and do all kinds of things to people and have power over people, and that's his big thing. And so he also gets better at it, right? He can do it without talking, like, so he gets much better at his gift as well. And then when we see with Ava, you know, she starts out exactly the same, having, you know, dreams like Sam, visions, but then when she gets taken to the town or whatever, and, you know, when she's talking to Sam after, she's like, if you would just give into it, it's crazy how everything clicks, and how the levers turn and stuff. And she's like, how fast you learn, like the learning curve is fast. And so then again, her motivation to use those powers to the best of her ability was her attempt to survive in the town, right? To be the, what does she call herself, the world champion or something? So that was her motivation. And again, the yellow-eyed demon obviously told them all that they were competing against each other. And so that was her. And then Jake is the other psychic kid that we see who has a power, right? He's strong. That's kind of his thing. And then after meeting with the yellow demon, after everything that happens in the town, he meets with the yellow demon. And when he goes into the graveyard to open the Devil's Gate, all of a sudden he can, like, do the thing that, like, Andy and Weber could do, right? Like, he can, because he gets Ellen to turn the gun on herself, and he has, like, the power of persuasion, which he never had before. And he says to Sam too that Ava girl was right, like, as soon as you give into it and let yourself. So all of those psychic kids ended up anyway, with the exception of Andy, but excuse me, he was kind of out of he wasn't the same as the rest of them, right? But they all had, as soon as they gave into it, and then they got more powers, and they were all pushed in a certain way to like expand their powers as much as possible, and it was all kind of life or death for them. And with Sam, almost the opposite is true. So he knows from the beginning, well, not the very beginning, but pretty early on, he knows that very likely what's happening with him with the powers, it's probably connected to the demon, right? Like, they're kind of figuring it out in this one. Well, not really. Not really. I guess it's later on. I think I can't remember. It's toward the end of this season anyway. But because he knows about the supernatural, and he knows about, and like they are saying in this one, like, it's never been in our family. Like, it's never been part of. We've always fought against the supernatural things, right? And all of a sudden, now Sam is having these supernatural abilities, and so, like, he says, you know, like, that this hasn't happened. So he knows, because he knows about the supernatural, and he knows that a lot of times supernatural things there's bad things attached to those supernatural. I think from the very beginning he's very reluctant. I mean, he doesn't tell Dean. He never told Jessica that he saw her dying, but then he never told Dean when it's confirmed that, you know, he saw her die and then she died in that exact way. He doesn't tell Dean for a long time. He's very much fighting against it, right? And certainly, like, all through season 2, it's his whole. It terrifies him, the idea of, like, what could happen if he, like, gives into these powers, and so he fights against them all the time, and he's incapable of being swayed or scared into anything by the yellow-eyed demon. I mean, obviously, I'm sure he's probably scared, but he doesn't. He's able to fight against it, and he doesn't want to keep like, expanding his powers. They scare him, right? Especially now. I mean, I feel like they kind of always scare him a little bit, but certainly in these early seasons and in the beginning, they really scare him, and he doesn't really want anything to do with them. So I think because of the position he was in, knowing about the supernatural, and like not being swayed at all by Azazel, he's able. That's why he doesn't. That's why he doesn't ever do the telekinesis thing again. It's why he doesn't ever really get any other kind of power. I mean, obviously, again, when he does give into it, which for the first like 2 to 3 seasons, for the first 2 seasons for sure, and into the third one, I feel like he's wanting to give into it a little more in the third one. But because he doesn't give into it, and he doesn't ever get any other powers, and so that's why I feel like that's why he never uses his telekinesis again, why it never comes back up. And even in the season finale of this season, when Yellow Eyes is trying to get him to move it, I think he wants to, but he's also faced immediately in front of him with the demon that again he knows is that he is connected to through this like psychic ability thing. He knows there's some kind of connection, right, at this point. And so I think that again, that's kind of a block for him, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if in fact the yellow-eyed demon was just making it impossible for him to actually move it. That's also a possibility, but because there's never like a motivator again for him, and he wants so badly to not do it and to push against it, I feel like that's why he never uses his telekinesis again. That's why it was a one-time thing. But then eventually, like after Dean dies in season 3, at the end of season 3, then he has all the motivation to give in to those powers, right? And then with the help of Ruby and her little manipulative ways, he does give into the powers and he tries to control them, right? He says to Dean, like, oh, I'm not going to go too far, and of course he does go too far. but yeah, but it isn't until that point when he does have that motivation, that revenge to get back at Lilith, just like all the other psychic kids had when they gave into all the other things they could do. It isn't until he also has that motivation and that revenge drive and the anger and the sadness and grief and fear and all of those things. That's when he gives in, and that's when he can do more, right, than just have visions. So, but yeah, that's my theory, my very long-winded theory. But yeah, it's an amazing episode. This episode, everything between Sam and Dean, like, it's so great and sweet and heartwarming, and also sad to see how, like, Dean is clearly very scared for Sam, right? He wants to help him so much, and he keeps telling him, like, throughout it, he's like, no, it's fine, like, it's fine, we're gonna figure it out, everything's fine, like, it's no big deal, it's not gonna be a big deal. And then, I mean, of course, at the very end, he's reassuring him, like, it's not your fault, it's not to do with you, like, I'm gonna be here, I'm gonna take care of you, nothing's gonna happen while I'm around. And then, we see at the very end with the shot of his face of him just being clearly very terrified. So I love all of that. And then we get some in the next episode, which I'm going to watch right away because I'm behind in some recording, so I'm going to catch up. We see in the next episode that unfortunately Sam gets taken, and but then the whole next episode is so much Protective Dean, which I absolutely love. It's one of my favorites. My favorite Deans, I mean. I love Protective Dean. But I do really love the episode too. It's horrifying and disturbing. It's always more horrifying when it's humans, but it's a great episode too, so I'm looking forward to watching that one next. And yeah, this episode is amazing. Again, I'll say, I think I'd said before, but the kid who plays Max does an amazing job. Like, his emotions are so real and visceral. It's very, very heartbreaking. But yeah, no, this was a great episode. Loved watching it again. If you want to see full-length early reactions, I do have Patreon. I'd love to see you over there. The link will be in the description box below. And yeah, come on by and watch some more with me. Alright, thanks so much, guys. Bye.